evening.
Good evening. Special meeting of the seventh term of the Baltimore City Council is now called to order. Members, as you know, we're in a virtual meeting, so note that I will recognize you or the clerk, and then you will have the floor. In lieu of any night, we will have a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. The clerk will now call the roll of the members.
President Scott.
Present.
Councilman Colton.
Present.
Councilwoman McCray. Present. Councilman Dorsey.
Present.
Councilman Henry.
Here.
Councilman Schleifer. Vice President Middleton.
Present.
Councilman Pinkett.
Present.
Councilman Burnett.
Here.
Councilman Bullock.
Present.
Councilman Rising.
Here.
Councilman Costello.
Present.
Councilman Stokes.
Here.
Councilwoman Sneed.
Here.
Councilwoman Clark.
Here.
Mr. President, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Bills vetoed by the mayor can be found on page 2 of the agenda.
City Council Bill 19-0382, Charter Amendment, City Administrator, for the purpose of establishing the position of City Administrator as the Chief Administrative Officer of Baltimore City, establishing how the City Administrator is appointed and removed, establishing the powers and duties of the City Administrator, establishing that the City Administrator shall appoint a Deputy City Administrator and certain other staff, providing that the City Administrator may appoint and remove certain municipal officers, clarifying and conforming related provisions generally relating to the position of the City Administrator, and submitting this amendment to the qualified voters of the city for adoption or rejection.
Thank you. Without objection, we will reconsider this bill. Roll call.
President Scott.
Yes.
Councilman Cohen.
Yes.
Councilwoman McCray.
Yes.
Councilman Dorsey.
Yes.
Councilman Henry.
Yeah.
Councilman Schleifer.
Mr. President, can I explain my vote?
The floor is yours, Mr. Councilman.
Yeah, so today's executive order underscores the need for a city manager that can help make the right decisions for Baltimore. It's not right to allow more people to congregate at a casino than a church. It's not right to allow more people to eat inside a restaurant than can be inside a mall that is home to many restaurants. And it's certainly not right to allow more people to eat together indoors than outside. And so I vote yes.
Vice President Middleton.
Yes.
Councilman Pinkett.
Mr. President, can I explain my vote?
Absolutely. The floor is yours, Mr. Councilman.
Thank you, sir. About 2 weeks ago, when City Council Bill 19-0382 came before the City Council, I was one of 5 council members who voted against this charter amendment, which would call for the creation of the position of City Administrator, a position that the sponsor and supporters of the amendment believe would facilitate a more efficient and effective administration of city government. My opposition was based upon my opinion that under the current system, there is nothing that prevents a mayor from hiring and empowering a qualified person of his or her choosing to perform the duties outlined as those prescribed for the city administrator position. Mayors in the past have done so by applying due diligence in their appointment of deputy mayors to oversee the day-to-day operation of the various agencies. Some have done so with more success than others. But no matter whether we manage the affairs of the city through the current structure or through what is being called a professionalization of the current city processes, the fact still remains that no charter amendment or position creation will override or substitute our city's need for sound decision-making, talent evaluation, and clear goal setting by the chief executive of the city, the mayor. Council President Scott, that will not be the people's expectation of the city administrator, it will be their mandate for you. So today, I'm not certain if I'm voting more in support of the charter amendment or voting in opposition of the veto to this amendment, an amendment that the presumptive mayor of the city is asking for as a tool that would allow him to run the city more efficiently and effectively. This is not an attempt for self-promotion or a grab for power, but what I hope is a genuine desire to lead the city with distinction. The council seconded that position by voting in favor of allowing the people to decide it's now appropriate for the citizens of Baltimore to have their say. I vote yes.
Councilman Burnett.
Yes.
Councilman Bullock.
Yes.
Councilman Reisinger.
Yes.
Councilman Costello.
Yes.
Councilman Stokes.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sneed.
Yes.
Councilwoman Clark.
I'd like to explain my vote by saying that I believe in strong mayor form of government. So we had a nice long conversation, and I feel that our incoming mayor will definitely walk the walk, talk the talk, as he always has, and not let this position come between him and knowing what's really going on with his agency directors, with the people on the streets, and that it will just help him get some work done that he won't be able to if he's out there where he's supposed to be, learning what's really going on. I vote yes.
Mr. President, 15 yeas and no nays.
Woo!
Thank you. This bill is approved. And I want to start out by saying thank you to the council. We had many great conversations about how we can make our government work better for the people. And after today, I'm looking forward to seeing this charter amendment go to the voters in November, who will ultimately decide what happens. We all see the breakdowns in our current system. Anyone who lives or works in Baltimore just has to look outside of their house or walk outside or drive down the street to see that our local government is not working as efficiently, as effectively as possible and is needed by Baltimoreans. This charter amendment, if approved by the voters, will require every mayor, and not just the next mayor of Baltimore, to appoint a chief administrative officer. Changing our city charter to require mayors to do that will put us in alignment not just with our surrounding jurisdictions, but with most major cities around the country. This is not the mayor shaking power. The mayor will always be responsible, will always carry the weight, and will always be held accountable by the voters of Baltimore City. What this does do, however, is makes our government more professionalized, making sure that the people that whomever the mayor is decides to put in charge of day-to-day operations of city government has a track record and meets qualifications to do that. This is what this is about. I am focused on one thing and one thing only with this charter amendment, and that's making city government work better for Baltimoreans. To truly have a 21st century government, we need a professional government capable of serving our residents in an efficient and effective and transparent manner based in this century, not the last. I look forward to continuing this work of building a more transparent, accountable, and ethical city government with each of you in the months and years to come. Thank you. I know before we go any further, Councilwoman Clark, Chair recognizes Councilwoman Clark. I know you had something that you wanted to say.
Yeah, I was saving it for the announcements, but is this an appropriate time?
These are the announcements. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, these are the announcements. Thank you very much, Mr. President, members of the City Council. I did ask for this occasion to give a preview of a resolution that will be introduced on the 17th of August at our council meeting. I just wanted you to know about it because things are moving fast and we should be aware. I want to congratulate the mayor and ourselves for the Less Waste, Better Baltimore plan, also for appealing the decision of the bad decision of the circuit court here to throw out Baltimore's Clean Air Act. And that's what I want to talk about. In 1 week, we are bringing in a resolution. I would ask you to support it. It calls upon the mayor and the law department of this city to stop the negotiations that have been documented in court papers that are going on between the city and Wheelabrator, and get back into court. We have a good crew of attorneys there doing a good job, and we have a very strong case to win our appeal, and that's what we need. So this is a secret conversation that's going on. We don't know the details. We know that the Baltimore Clean Air Act, once restored, authorizes action this year to limit emissions. That Wheelabrator's contract expires next year, 2021. That our appeal wins or loses for every subdivision in Maryland the right to adopt stricter emission standards, as pointed out in state and federal law. We know that Wheelabrator is the city's biggest polluter, that any compromise will cost Baltimore City millions of dollars, and not the other 7 states or other Maryland counties that also burn their trash in line with us. That the price tag that Wheelabrator will be facing if they compromise an extension is over $90 million. Where's it going to come from? You, me, put and pay, and other disadvantages on tipping fees. Please join the resolution, join the effort, so that people know now that we are opposing this and asking our leaders, go back to court. You've got a good team and a great case. Thank you, Mr. President and members.
Thank you, Councilman Cole.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to echo and share some of the concerns expressed by my colleague and friend from the 5th District about the most recent executive order allowing some institutions to begin to partially open up. I'm looking right now at the city's COVID-19 dashboard, which tracks, it's a good data source, and it tracks cases and it breaks down demographics. And I'm looking specifically at the reopening indicators, which is supposed to give a gauge on how we either move forward into the next phase of reopening, or in a worst case, how we move to a previous phase. Unfortunately, the top 2 indicators, which are new cases and deaths, are both red, indicating that we should be moving to a previous phase, indicating that we should be hunkering down and not beginning another phase of reopening. I represent 21224, where we have been devastated by the coronavirus. This virus is disproportionately harming Black and Hispanic folks. In my district, the Hispanic community has been particularly harmed by COVID-19. They are often essential workers. They face many health disparities and housing disparities. And so I find this decision incredibly troubling in that it contradicts not only the best public health guidance, not only the best science guidance, but also the city's own indicators for how we should attempt to open up. I will simply say that I sincerely hope that the public, that our businesses, everyone is suffering, everyone is struggling financially, but the cost of reopening too quickly will be disproportionately borne on our most vulnerable, and will ultimately result in us having to close everything back down anyway and harm the businesses this is attempting to help. So I would just say to folks, please, 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 we are trending in the wrong direction. We should be doing everything we can to stop the flow, to stop transmission. Please wear a mask. Please make sure you are social distancing. And again, just very, very concerned and would strongly urge the mayor to reconsider this decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else, Councilman Pinkett, Councilman Seifler, have anything to add? All right, thank you. Chair recognizes Council Vice President Middleton. Madam Vice President, you're on mute.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for your leadership in bringing the total council together for the things that you continue to do to move Baltimore forward. And on that note, the next meeting of the City Council will be held on Monday, August 17th, virtually at 5 p.m.
Thank you. There being no further business, this concludes this special of the 72nd term of the Baltimore City Council. Thank you.